Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dreams of Zion, my storytelling episodes on the Pot Smokers Bible channel. These are stories, short stories that I make up as I go along, which is something I used to do with kids a lot. I'd tell them stories, and they'd want more stories, so I just keep telling them more stories. So this is my way of continuing that tradition. And I just did an episode on the Gray Say There's a Better Way about the secondary guild system of Zion, where if somebody doesn't qualify for the guild of their choice, they have the option to take auxiliary classes from that guild in order to try to qualify later. So I decided that would be a good idea for a story. Now, in the episode, I touched on the possibility of how the secondary guild would work. And I mentioned that if you wanted to be a writer and you didn't qualify for the Writers Guild, well, you could join the Auxiliary Guild. So, because I'm a writer telling stories, I thought this would be a good idea for the story. So, um, Brittney is 20 years old. She goes to Camp Zion, and she was in college for accounting because she was always really good at math and because she qualified for a scholarship with an accounting scholarship. And, you know, it was going to pay the bills. It really wasn't what she wanted to do with her life. But because she was rather poor, she had to take what was offered, and that was the scholarship she was offered when she was in high school. So that's the one she took. So when she got to Zion, and they asked her what her profession was, she said, "I'm an accountant." So she was immediately placed in the accounting skill, the mathematics skill. And they needed him. She felt very needed in her field. She clerked it up all day long, for her required hours. But because she had been told prior to coming to camp about the secondary guild system and how she could pursue her dream job of being a writer in her off time. So she had always had the intention when she got to camp to secondary it. That's what she called it. She's, I'm going to secondary it and I'm going to become a writer. And the hell with all these numbers. So she got to camp. She went into her primary guild because she knew that they were going to be needing her skills, and she was skilled. So she entered her primary guild because that's where they needed. They didn't need writers, they needed accountants. So that's where she was placed. But when she did her guild placement test, she put Writers Guild as her secondary. Now, a secondary is that one that you want, regardless of qualification. Now, you might put it as your first one because if you think you qualify, but the qualification for the first one does include experience. So, and until you're tested, any talent like writing, would be considered a secondary guild skill unless you have criteria prior to it, like a published work. So she did not qualify for the publishers, for the Writers Guild, but that was her dream job. She was realistic, so she took her accounting job. She did her 20 hours with the camp, and then immediately she went to the auxiliary channel system because she was a latecomer to the camp. They'd already had their TV system set up, their uh, inter internet television program system set up, and there's an auxiliary channel for every guild. And the auxiliary channel is literally the lectures of the professionals in that guild while they are teaching the apprentices and the journeymen the different classes. So when you sign up for a secondary guild, you are automatically given access to the auxiliary channel to that chosen guild. And if you have a third one and a fourth one, you can do that too if you have the time for it. Because people are given the opportunity to explore their hidden talents and skill sets so that they can find their optimal profession. So Brittney spends every off hour of her free time because she's single, she doesn't have any kids, and she um isn't really that comfortable with dating when she's in a new situation. So she spends her time developing her writing skill. Now, it starts out with the basic English course. So, and it builds from there, covering every aspect of writing. And when she gets to her choice of genre, which is for her, and then I'm just going out left field. Hers is horror. Okay, I don't like horror, but she does. So when she branches out into her chosen field, she chooses horror film. And there will be a place in Zion for that because that is a way to express the darker aspects of our personalities. So it has a place. So she starts to write little short stories in her chosen genre. And when she's tested, when the grade comes, she's tested. And she qualifies for, guess what? She qualifies for the accounting guild. She is just not quite at the level of a writer to qualify for entry into the Writers Guild. But she's not discouraged because, see, the tester tells her that she qualifies for this, this, and this, and she is close in this, this, and this. And one of those close aspects was writing. Encouragement. She didn't qualify, but she did not qualify. There's hope. So she diligently pursues her chosen genre in writing. And every time she writes a story, it's submitted as an auxiliary lesson because she's in a class, a writing class. It's real. It's sanctified by the guild. So she enters her each lesson, each story goes into the guild. And the next testing day is not for another year. But about halfway through that year, she turns in a story that impresses her teacher. And the teacher looks back at her progress, how she has worked towards it, and the diligence that she has given. Well, she they want to expand the Writers Guild because they have all the qualified people they need, but there are still segments of the population who aren't covered by the guild because each part of the camp will go to their own location in Zion, and each guild will have a house, a temple complex, a temple in the complex that will cover their people. Journeymen will be stationed there, and they have a need for more writers. And the moment she qualified and her progress showed that she could advance. She's she's at her job, doing her 20 hours, going through the paperwork, doing her accounting, and she gets a call from her supervisor. And she puts down her work. She's like, wow, what the hell is up? Because she has no idea. She walks into the office and she says, yes, ma'am. How can I help you? And her supervisor, whose name is Jane, let's say, Jane smiles really big. She says, Brittney, you have been such a good guild member for this guild. There's so much of the guild that will always bear your stamp because you helped us to set it up and get it running as smoothly as it has. But unfortunately, for the guild, but not for you, we're going to have to say goodbye to you because we've just been notified by the Writers Guild that you've qualified for entry into that guild and that your services and talents are necessary to their operation. And whereas you are so good at what you do, we have plenty of mathematicians who can fill your shoes here. But your dream job apparently is to write, not to count. And because that is your primary desire, it supersedes our desire for you to stay. So we are releasing you from your primary guild status, and we remove you to the secondary guild status. In that, if you might spend time teaching or supervising the apprentice, if needed, it's your choice. But here are your paperwork. You are to report to the Writers Guild. Good luck. And please send me everything that you write because I'm going to be your biggest fan. And she just sits there for a minute, just stunned, and she looks at this envelope that she's been handed, and it has the guild crest of the Writers Guild. And she just can't believe that she's been promoted to the Writers Guild. And Jane just looks at her and says, take your time, sweetie. I know that this is a big honor and this is a big moment for you. Congratulations. And she just, thank you so much, Jane. Okay, okay, I'm gonna clear up my desk now. And Jane goes, honey, we've already catered. The caterers are on their way with your farewell party. Oh, so all the work stops for that time in the office. A congratulatory party is held in her honor, wishing her farewell from her career as an accountant into her new dream job as a writer. After the party, with tears streaming down her face, she gets all of her stuff together and she takes off and she goes and she moves her tent to into and she packs up everything and she moves to the Writers Guild. And there, after a day to settle in, she goes to her first class as a writer. So may the great watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May the keeper right, teach you right from wrong. May you be worthy of them. And may all your Zion dreams come true. My name is Zion. I love to tell stories. I'm gonna say later now, because I never say goodbye.